So the audio is still going to have some issues just because there's going to be a delay. And it's not a delay that I can fix. And by that I mean I'm using my headset to send audio from me talking to my computer. The GoPro, though, is the exact same setup that I would have when I'm riding my motorcycle, except for it's sitting on my desk. So I'm going to go walk over, or sitting on my desk, but I say my workbench. So now I'm going to get up and walk over here and sit down. Whew. Oh, that took almost 45 minutes to get that camera working. I'm actually kind of curious just how delayed the stream is. Oh yeah, it's a pretty bad delay, and there's not really much I can do to change that. So, I mean, I could, in theory, just trying to think. I could, in theory, get like a really long Ethernet cable and just plug this directly into my router, but I'm actually out of Ethernet ports on my router, so I can't do that. So here we go. We're working on building a robot. Building a 3-pound combat robot. And if you notice right down here-ish somewhere, I've got my July ride to Phoenix for ARC goal up. So next month, on July 9th, I'll be taking this robot and quite possibly a second one that I'm also working on to an event in Phoenix, Arizona, called being put on by Arizona Robotics Combat Robotic. It's ACR ARC something like that. It's Arizona Robotic Combat Robots. Anyways, with David Small from Team. He was from Team Malice, and now I think he's starting his own team. Team Small Robotics, with his robot that he's working on. Shoot, I forgot the name of it. Anyways, this robot's actually is called Offbeat, and I've already taken the battery out, and I've taken the weapon off, and I've taken the top off. This robot is actually being designed and primarily primarily conceptualized, and a lot of the 3D printed components you see here were done by Robert from Team Jackpot. Him and I are working together. He basically said, "Who wants to go to Arizona Robotics, or who wants to go to Norwalk Catholic?" And I said, I would be interested in going." And we've been kind of talking back and forth. And I don't want to give out too many details about what's going on because I don't know what he is comfortable with sharing at this moment. So basically, he's buying all the components, 3D printing a lot of them, and then being like, he gets more, from what I can understand, what he's told me, he gets more enjoyment out of designing the robots than he does of building them, and I get enjoyment out of building them. So, yeah, it's a win-win for everybody. And he has another robot that he wants to take that I'm probably gonna be working on with. Anywho, this body is the first one. This is the first frame, and I was never happy with this print. What ended up happening is a lot of these screws here, they are super out of alignment. Anyway, actually, I got an idea. Hold on. I was like, let me wear my headphones so I can listen to music and talk. And then I'm like, it's too much audio delay. I'm waiting for my phone to catch up. I was like, let me wear my headphones.
Okay, so, but he has 3D printed a new frame for me here. And he got a new printer, and it's a much, much better quality. So tonight's project is to move all the internals from this frame to this frame, and hopefully maybe do a weapon spin-up. But first I gotta take all the current parts off this robot, so... Delay isn't that bad over here? Yeah, I just... I am just like, eh. So, I love the design for how he did the drive. Like, these wheels, they look like they're touching. They're not. You couldn't get a piece of paper in there, but they are not touching. And this is a 8mm socket. These red wheels are made out of TPU. Oh, it's Mighty Pong! The little robot gifts. If you guys love watching people build things, check out the Syn Shop, SCYNSHOP, on Twitch. They do streams on Monday and Friday. And he gets a lot of, they do a lot of building stuff, and he gets a lot of the BattleBots guys on there, at least the local guys. I've been mostly doing like motorcycle live streaming, but then I was sitting here like getting ready to work on the robot, and I'm like, I wonder if I could set up this stuff to stream it. This is a shout out to all like 2 people watching. Now I do have power tools. I could get a drill and just go really fast, but I don't want to go and get like the socket. And you know, Pong, you're gonna hate me though. You're gonna absolutely hate me. This camera right here, it's a GoPro. It's a GoPro attached to a encoder. It's a GoPro attached to an encoder. The encoder is attached to a Wi-Fi, basically portable router. And then that is hot-spotted to my cell phone. And then I'm sending the video stream from my cell phone, from the GoPro, to the router setup, to my phone, to my computer over in the other corner of the room, because I don't have an Ethernet cord long enough to reach to my router. Alright. Back to robot building. So here we got, now if I really wanted to, I probably could do a better setup. I just don't have... Well, this is my setup that I normally use when I'm riding my motorcycle. And it allows me to have an uninterrupted stream. So if I hit a dead spot, at least the stream stays going. TPU wheel, these are magnets inside the wheels, so these wheels are magnetic to help stick to metal flooring. So I can pick tools up. And then we got bearings on these TPU fittings. Are these the... Robert did print me some new shafts, and these are still the wrong length, but that's no big deal. I'm just going to set these aside because we're moving them to the new robot. I could have easily set this router up to just hook to my home Wi-Fi, but the only way to do that would be plug it into my computer. Let me know if you want me to break down a way easier way to connect, or just after I said I could have easily just connected the router the modem or the Wi-Fi adapter little block to my home Wi-Fi, but I didn't want to deal with all of that. And I'm like, I have a setup that works. I'm just gonna do it and see if I can't have a little fun with this. I normally don't stream from home anymore. But what I'm working on, so This is Offbeat. This is a 3-pound robot that Robert and I have been working on. By that I mean he's been designing it and printing it, and then I've been doing most of the legwork of assembling it, because I enjoy assembling robots. From what Robert has told me, he enjoys designing them, and I enjoy assembling them. But what I'm doing is I'm disassembling this one, because this frame, it didn't print very well. It's got a pretty bad warp right here. It almost looks like it was printed inside of a bowl. Robert has printed a new frame, and it's not as badly warped, and so I want to move all these components to this new frame. Because one of the problems with this is it's so warped, these axles, when you put them in, they just thread in. Instead of sitting level, they're sitting at an angle. You can see there's black here on the edge of this wheel, but not here, just because when we were driving it around, the wheel was sitting like this. So I'm gonna just slowly pull these wheels off, and then they're gonna pull the guts out. One of the other problems too is one of the motors. These are brushless motors. Lock jaws? Yeah. Except for these aren't supposed to be angled. Because they have magnets in them, we want to have as much of the wheel surface area touching the ground as possible to increase the amount of magnetic force that is being applied to the floor. Because when we go to Arizona, the floors are going to be metal flooring. And we just want to have the best grip and all that. Ooh. This one actually was so bad I had to put a washer on there to keep it from grinding. Yeah, Robert was talking about that, and I didn't want to say anything too like crazy while talking to you while you guys are doing your stream on Monday, because I don't want to. I know you have a project going on with that, and it's not my story to tell. But yeah, him and I we've been working on this robot to go, and he asked me, he's like, "Do you just want to ride with Pong and I in the car?" And I'm very dead set on riding my motorcycle with my live stream setup going. So it might be like that Thursday before we go. I'll decide. I'll probably we'll get closer to how things are going. If I'm going to be riding with you guys or not. He has another robot I think he wants to take to Arizona as well, that he's printing all the parts for. And I am like super appreciative of it. He didn't mention that you guys might just be staying overnight. I'm like, whew, because I'm sitting there thinking about it. Like, it's 5 hours one way. I have to leave here by 3 a.m. to get there by 9 o'clock, 9:30 for safety check-in. And the competition is going to like 6. That means I won't be getting back if I then come back home right then and there. That's like 2 in the morning by the time I get home. And Parker's stuck in Louisiana. That's your own fault, Parker. So here's another problem with this robot. With this, not this robot, but this particular frame. And I'm not going to trash this frame. This is going to be the, oh no, we're all out of good frames frame. This motor right here spins real freely, right? This motor, I don't know if you can hear it. You can hear it scraping. I think it's warped. The body's warped right here. And this motor's actually hitting this piece of carbon fiber on the bottom, which is causing that to bind up. Yeah, at first I thought it was actually something inside the motor while doing a drive test. So I took the whole thing apart and I'm like, no, the motor's fine. It was upon some further investigating that I found that, oh no, the motor's fine. It's the it's hitting this piece of carbon fiber. It's actually scraping bad enough that in our drive tests, you can kind of see a little bit right here. Some of the paint has been worn away from the motor. Just using a small Allen head now to pull these screws out. Now, you notice I have the robot sitting on this piece of blue painters, this roll of blue painters tape. I like whenever I'm working on my robots, and even when I'm not working on them, when I'm just storing them, I like to keep them off their wheels. So in the event that maybe I forgot to turn the robot off and it decides it's going to drive away, its wheels aren't touching the ground and it can't drive away. Also, I'm tall and my workbench isn't nearly tall enough for me sitting in this chair. Like, I'm slunched over. So having it on a piece of tape, or this roll of tape, is just another little booster. And I need something out of my toolbox. Robert was getting rid of an old toolbox, and I ended up snagging it. Is the base okay? The frame, this black piece, it's fine, but I don't know how well it shows up. Let me get a ruler here. You can kind of see there, that's pretty warped across the top. And that's what was causing these screws here, which go through. There's another plate that goes on top of this. These screws are actually all kind of wonky and not where they're supposed to be. And then the axles, of course, for the wheels were sitting at a weird angle. What I need... I love having a couple of these floating around. All the screws I take out, I can put in there, and then they don't... Bad robots, bad me for making robots fight to the death. Look. It's either that, or, we go back to traditional gladiatorial fighting, and last time I checked, that's murder, and murder's illegal. I did have to hit this robot with a hammer this morning, or this morning before I started. So this is the power switch for the robot right here. And the way this works is you take an Allen key, and this one won't fit in here, but you put it in here, you turn this screw, and this goes down and completes a circuit. They like it though. So yeah, this circuit, so this is just super glued right here to the inside of the frame right here. Just super glue it right there. But this is nylon, and the super glue wasn't sticking. So my solution was, I heated this up with a torch, and then I put super glue on here, heated it up with a torch, put this here, and then clamped it in. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to move this to a different body. I have to break that out, and I couldn't get it loose. I had to put a nail set right there and just tap this with a hammer to pop it out. Okay, so I've got the screws for the motors out. I can go ahead and... Nope, I got one more. Flip the robot upside down. There we go. One of the things I want to do... What I want to do is, before we actually fight, is like these screws here. I want to actually put a little bit of Loctite on them. So, massive. Yes, Spades, we are talking about doing battle boats. That is a thing that is being worked on. Whoop. I guess that's one way to take the guts out of the robot. Took the screw that hold the weapon motor in, and the whole thing just fell out. So that's the weapon motor. And that's a big brushless motor. This is one of the drive motors, and you can see again it's got the a bit of wear on it. What I'm gonna do, as long as I keep this bundled like this, it should all fit back in there exactly where it needs to go. We got our ESCs right here, which, oh, that's not good. I'm gonna have to resolder that connection. That is a bad solder joint right there. This is no bueno. And I know who soldered that. I'm gonna have to, that was me. I soldered that. I did not do a good enough job. Bad me. I will fix that. Take this bundle though, and we're gonna, I don't have anywhere to set it down. Just set it right there for now. Yeah, Parker, like I said, check out the Sin Shop, because that's the thing that they've been on and off talking about on the stream there. I have a rough idea for a battle boat that I'm building, or designing at least. I'm still learning Fusion 360 and everything. And yeah, I'm working on a drive. Where is my power drill? I'm working on the drive though for my battle boat. Yeah, I haven't bought the Admiral's hat yet, but it's coming. Do I still have it? There you go. There you go, Pong. Yeah. I might opt to be lazy. Not do ultimate. Oh, it's Ryobi. I love my Ryobi drill. I've had this thing forever. I've built so many things with it. So I have an update on the shop tomorrow. Yes, I would talk about it, but as soon as the shop opens, I would think it would be pretty cool to have an event there. I've had this thing for 8 years. Well, oh, Pong, so Spades and I go back years and years ago, back when I used to play Xbox all the time. And Pez is another one of our friends from, again, years ago, playing video games on the interwebs. Back when I used to play Xbox like every night. Back before I had a job. Well, on top of that, like, I think you guys still only play Xbox, and I've moved on to PC Mustard Race over here. Of course. In fact, I came home. I got home from work a little bit early, and I was like, I'm just gonna play some video games. I don't have the energy to work on the robot right now. And I loaded up. I had my VR headset on. I'm sitting there flying my F-18, you know, getting some weapons practice in because I do a lot of flight simming. Hair blows graceful. And I got all done, and I'm like, okay, I think I have the energy to work on the robot now. But first, let me spend 45 minutes, or no, a half hour, trying to fight with my streaming setup here. So, that's a bad place to put the drill. Look, put the drill right in the middle of the shot. That's a brilliant place. I have an Xbox One that I occasionally play, like when my computer was dead for like 2 whole weeks. It's like, oh, PC time or Xbox time. Before we get too far into taking this apart, because there's a problem. Yeah, it's not easy getting the streaming setup wise. One of the problems I'm having while I'm taking these screws out, this is the bottom of the robot. This is the weapon, one of them. I believe this is the titanium one. Yeah, it's the titanium one because the steel one's heavier. This is an undercutter robot, so the robot would sit like this with the wheels here. Weapon sits right here like this. As the weapon spins and wobbles, it sometimes nicks these screws. And as such, some of the screws are a bit damaged.
Where's Celeste?
Celeste is upstairs napping. So, like, this one right here looks like it's pretty smacked up. Part of that was, Plum, it was we were doing weapon tests without all the parts on the robot, without the top on there. So the weapon was actually able to move up and down like this. I then did another test with all the parts put on there that kind of, I noticed the weapon didn't move as much with everything. When you put the top on, it's very thin, but it does act like a bit of a spacer to help pull and hold everything together. It's a mounting problem or an issue with the blade. It's a little bit of both. I haven't done the exact math, right? But from my understanding, a lot of these 3-pound, even the 1-pound robots, the weapons hit harder than a 9mm handgun. And this weapon right here weighs close to a pound. This is a 3-pound robot. This is 1/3 of the weapon, the robot's weight. And the screw's not loose enough yet. You say that, Pong. You know what I really want to do? That's not good. I really want to get, like, a watermelon and drive a robot into a watermelon with this weapon spinning. The problem is that would be a waste of a perfectly good watermelon. And it'd be messy. You'd get watermelon everywhere. So, okay, so the really long screws, Parker, is to reduce the number of screws we have. We could do a really short screw that only goes this far into the robot. The problem is that could then pull out. If we get hit really hard right here, we can pull the screw out, and now we're opened up, we've got damage. With the screw going all the way through, all right, like this, the screw going all the way through the robot, I only have to have one screw to hold the top and the bottom on, which reduces the number of screws. I then put a bolt right here that holds the top on, and we can hold the whole top on, and you're not going to pull the screw through. You're going to have to rip the whole frame apart to get that screw out. So, yeah, it's going to be a sticky mess as well. But I want to do it. I think it would be, I don't know, I'll build a hammer saw robot and call it Gallagher. And then just buy a bunch of watermelons. It's like eating at Ponderosa. You want to do it, then you do it, you realize why you haven't done it in so long. You say that, now I want to go. I haven't been to Ponderosa in forever, and now I want to go. And this screw right here is the one I knew was going to give me problems. Because this one kind of got smacked at one point. So I'm going to set that one somewhere not here. Ponderosa, last time I was in one when I was visiting, was before I moved out here when I lived in Michigan. They're like an all-you-can-eat buffet, but it's supposed to be like Chuck Wagon themed or something like that. No Captain D's, I can tell you that. Well, the salad bars. When I was much younger, I used to eat a lot. And I never gained weight. Ponderosa's Steakhouse? I always thought they were a buffet. Maybe it's a buffet and steakhouse? No, I've only ever been to Ponderosa when it was a buffet. Anywho. I used to eat a lot growing up. And I went to a buffet once when I was real little, when I was younger. And we paid for like a child's meal because I was a child, and I figured, oh, it's going to be one plate of food. Well, on my 10th plate of food, and we're talking like, I filled the whole plate up. My 10th plate of food, they're like, sir, you can't have any more. You've ate too much. But I'm like, but I'm hungry. I am just a small child, and I am starving. That was also the same weekend I gave myself a concussion, in the dumbest way. We're on the food portion of the stream. Yeah, all you can eat, but I was a small child, and they got mad at me because I had like 10, 11 plates worth of food. I need a tissue. It was like the same weekend though I gave myself a concussion in a stupid way. Is Dickies something new? Or, I don't know, I've never been to Dickies. Everyone here's like, oh, we're talking food. And I'm like, I'm not a food person. I don't like food. Like, I eat for sustenance so I don't die, but like... Hello? Drill, why you no drill? Everyone's talking food, and I'm like the one person who doesn't like food. Okay, so my drill just stopped drilling. It's done this once before. A couple times before, where it's just like, yeah, I'm not going to work anymore for about an hour. I don't know, it's not the battery, because I've had that happen before, and like 20 minutes later it starts working, and I think it may actually have a thermal switch, and it just got too hot and it shut off. So, my roommate happens to have a rigid just sitting there, so I'm like, I'll borrow this for a minute. I only got 4 screws left. Ugh. It's like that last bit won't come out ever. Every time. No, it's rigid. There we go. You know, what's funny is I actually could have only taken out 4 screws because I have another one of these carbon fiber plates. But I'm like, I don't want to do that. So, yeah, I'm going to leave the bushing in here for now because during one of the spin-up tests that Robert did, this got hot enough that it melted the nylon for the part. And there's this lip right here. That's all melted nylon. And now that we have this off, though, you can kind of get a better idea of just how bad that warp is across there. Like, not a whole lot. And then if we do the back side here, you can see that warp is pretty bad. So, again, this isn't a bad frame. It's just not ideal, and it's going to go into the, oh no, we've taken so much damage all weekend. This is the frame we have to use next. I did mention to Robert that I'm like, because he asked me, he's like, should I print another frame? And I said, you know what, yes. So we should have at least 3 frames for July. And then sand it back to shape. So here's the problem. Here's the problem. Where did I put that frame? Here's the problem. When you put the axles in for the wheels, instead of them going in like this and being nice and straight, they're going in at an angle. And you can even see here how like there's black on only part of this wheel, because when the wheel was when this axle was in there, it was at an angle and it was sitting like this. And we want them to sit flat because these are magnetic wheels. And I actually have, and this isn't my piece of sheet metal, so I don't use it, but my roommate has a piece of sheet metal. Don't know why. The wheel should sit like this and have enough, this is just one wheel, and it has enough magnetic force that I can almost pick up this piece of sheet metal. It's just because the wheel wants to roll. If I have 2 of them. Those are pretty powerful magnets. And we have a little bit of fine tuning left to do in the weight of the robot. Now, somewhere in here, bushing! The percussive persuader. Ah, that was easy.
Celeste upstairs?
Celeste's taking a nap and I'm doing a thingy.
Okay.
Do you need me to mute myself?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I was just asking.
Okay. I didn't know if you were going to cook dinner.
It sounds like I've been relieved of that duty.
Oh, okay.
Because Nat's not here and
Yeah, Nat.
Celeste ate.
Yeah, Nat went out.
Okay. Yeah, if Celeste is napping, I probably won't make anything. I'll just make myself something to eat.
Okay. Yes, why bots have a tendency to play really hard. Well, that's the thing too. Remember, this is a 3-pound robot, and these are the two of the weapon blades we have. This one is titanium, and this one is AR 500 target steel. Scale is reading 0. Put that on there. It is... Oh, I can't read that upside down. 7.3 ounces. It's titanium. This is the AR-500. The AR-500 is 11 ounces. 11.3 ounces. The tip of this is going to be moving at an estimated 300 miles an hour. I haven't done all the math. Someone smarter than me could probably do the math and be like, yeah, that's it's like getting hit by a 12 gauge shotgun. Ridiculous. So I put some white paint here, just kind of marking out, because if you notice, oh, and bring back to the magnet wheels. The reason why we have the magnets in there is to basically make the robot stick to the ground as if it weighed more than 3 pounds. So I put the white paint here. As we notice on this frame here, I've got a notch cut out here and here. I just put that there. These notches are for the wires that go from the robot. Because when Robert designed it, he designed it with the idea that we would cut notches where we needed to. It won't tickle. No, it definitely won't. You know what I'm going to do? Apparently there is a Japanese chainsaw. I don't know if it's Japanese or some other company or nationality, but that has a warning label that says, "Do not stop chain with genitals." I'm going to put that warning label right here. Do not stop bar with genitals. And then watch as we get, we go to Norwalk Havoc, and they can't show a robot on stream or something. I need to cut those out. I need to clean this off. As I was getting the paper towel and rubbing alcohol to wipe this off, so it's right there. I can actually even see in the carbon fiber. I don't know how well you can see it on there. It's a tiny little mark right there. Don't tell me what to do. There's a little mark right there from where that motor was actually rubbing up against this piece of carbon fiber. This is carbon fiber. Super strong, super light. I'm like, oh, so cool. So on the bottom of one of the battle bots on TV, because people kept saying, "oh shit," on TV, and they would blur them out, they painted the words "oh heck" on the bottom of the robot. So when the robot got flipped over, instead of them, the camera would cut to them and they would go, "oh," blur their mouth out and everything. The bottom of the robot says "oh heck." Reinforcing bars may help you with warping issues. So the warping issue is actually something to do with the 3D printer. The printer that Robert was using was not, from what he has told me, was not a very high quality printer. And so he got a much better quality printer. And I guess when you're 3D printing with nylon, which is what this is made out of, it tends to warp more. I actually have some 3D printed parts. So I have this 3D printed weapon checker. This is for LARP weapons. And no warping, but this is also PLA. And it was printed at a low temperature and everything. What's really cool is this is actually made out of glow-in-the-dark filament. So It glows. That's nice. I then have this helmet that is 3D printed. PLA. It's 2 pieces, but it was supposed to be printed as 1 piece. And again, no warping. The other thing too that we're dealing with is we have a weight limit of 3 pounds. This robot is at 3.3 or 3.03 pounds as is. So it has to lose some weight, and one of the places it's going to lose some weight is I'm going to take some of these magnets out of these wheels and reduce their weight a little bit. And then these screws that are going all the way through the frame, I'm actually going to cut the tops of them off, and that will probably shave off a gram or 2, a few grams here and there. And we might have some different wheels that are going to be printed out of a different material that may be lighter. Which, if that works, if that's the case, then cool. I need to get my Dremel, and I need to get my safety goggles. And I know, oh, you don't need safety goggles with a Dremel. Be a man, don't wear safety goggles. I'm live streaming this, and it's going to go on YouTube later. I want to be a good influence for the future generations. Yeah, this is how I'm going to do this. If I hit the right button. Actually, no. Oh, too many wires. Everything's all tangled. There we go. 2 safety goggles. Safety squints have been applied. Yeah, the little Dremel's nice, but the big Dremel bites. The goggles, they do nothing! That's an ugly hole, but it's a hole, and I will clean it up with the file here in a moment. Got one more I gotta cut. Cool. Again, too many wires. You're just gonna live there until I clean some of these wires later. File. I don't have any water. Oh, here we go. That bottle of water's been sitting there for a little while. You know, I have done that a few times. Actually, so I wear prescription glasses. And I made the mistake one day of cutting some components without proper safety glasses on using the Dremel. The Dremel disc exploded. And part of it hit me in the glasses. That wasn't the part that got me, though. It was the part that landed in my forehead, like right here. And stuck into my skin. And from that moment on, I made sure that whenever I'm using my Dremel, I always try and keep it so that way if the disc explodes, it goes out away from my face. And I've made it so... Alright, I wear my safety glasses as well. I'm using the file to try and clean up where I cut this, just because they aren't pretty cuts, but you're not really going to see this when the robot's fighting. But I'm using the file because wires have to go through here, and I don't want there to be anything too sharp, that if the wire even moves just a little bit, that it will work its way through and cut the wire. Especially if there's like a lot of vibrations and that wire's just bouncing like this. Mini death wheel, aka angle grinder. My original plan was to hopefully have this all put together enough that I could do a weapon spin-up test tonight, but I am going to get as far as putting the body back together, putting the wheels in, putting the motors in, resoldering that one electrical connection, and then that'll be it for tonight. Because it's already like 8 o'clock. Spades is not a model railroader. He just knows that I used to do model trains. So it's 8 o'clock and I was like, I had a big lunch. And then I'm looking at it like, I'm not hungry. Sitting there, running this file. I'm like, okay, I'm starting to feel a little bit hungry now. See, the problem, Pong, the problem with that you catch in one of my Run 8 streams is multifold. One, when I did them, they were on Fridays. It's the same time. The same time that you're streaming is usually when I would be streaming, if I was still doing them. I'm not doing them anymore, mostly because I've had some interactions with the developers that have left a sour taste in my mouth. Or, not my mouth, a sour taste in my mind. Someone's going to take that out of context. I don't care. I'm comfortable enough with who I am. Anyways, I've had some not so great interactions with some of the Run 8 devs and the community in general. It's just like I have a really, really hard time even playing that game for fun anymore. It's like I could just sit down and play it. Yeah, I could, but I'm just not feeling it. Yeah. Let me get this a little more right here. I don't mind getting dust on the floor. I have a Roomba that cleans up after me. And actually, I usually sweep the floor when I'm done working. Okay. So, put the bushing in, cut those notches out. Ready. Start putting some screws back in. Yeah, that problem with rolling line and community receipt. Yeah, there's a lot of communities, like I'm in the Discord, but I'm like not active at all because it's just like either too much is going on or it is a level of uncomfortable toxicness. And yeah, I think Run 8's a very small dev team. Such me find a company you like and the people behind it are jerks. Ask me offline about the people I got my desk from. Didn't you build your own desk? Or no, you're building your own desk right now. Building a new one. But yeah, the Run 8 dev team is pretty small. And it's just, I've talked about this before, where like the communication is, if you email them about a tech support problem, they're usually pretty good. But when it comes to letting you know that they're still working on the game, and, you know, development progress, and when updates are coming out, when new versions of the game are coming out, nothing. There's a couple of online communities that I've just kind of noped out of because various levels of trying to move it around, move stuff around my room so I can have room to set up the bed. So okay, story time. Let me drill this screw and then I'm gonna tell a story. Let me try and drill this screw in. So when I first moved out here, I started building a model railroad in my garage. At least it was when I lived with my ex. It was my ex and her family, had a pretty sizable garage. Old story, yes, but it relates to Pong trying to fit his bed in with his desk. So I built this model train layout, and it was U-shaped, so it was kind of shaped like this. It was 13 feet long by 7 feet wide, and each of these parts here are about 2 feet wide. It was N scale. And if you guys, if you ever saw like my old Facebook page of building this railroad, you'll kind of know where this is going. But it basically took up the same space as a car in this 2.5 car garage. When my ex and I broke up and I had to move out, I moved into a studio apartment that was 25 by 25 square. And not wanting to get rid of this model railroad, I took it with me. And I thought, well, it'll just live in one corner and I won't ever actually be able to set it up. That lasted all of about 2 days before I realized if I push my bed up against one wall, move my standing portable closet thingy that the apartment came with to this other wall, I could totally make it fit. My bed was up against the wall. This was a queen-size bed. Here was the edge of the bed. Here was the edge of the model railroad. This is where I slept. The model railroad overhung my bed by like 6 inches. It took up almost the entire apartment. And the only real space that I had was inside the U-shaped area, which I had to crawl under the layout or crawl over my bed to get to. I had a walkway between the layout and my my dresser to get to my bathroom and to the foot of my bed. And I had my kitchen area and like that walkway in front of it. And I had my computer set up so I could sit at my computer and look over my monitor at my layout. And then what I did is I had a second computer with a webcam on top of my refrigerator looking at the layout. I had a wire going from my computer, my main computer, to my layout so I could control my trains from my computer. I could log into the webcam on computer A or computer 1 and control my trains from my main computer anywhere. So I would be at work, just sitting there, got nothing to do. I would log into the webcam on my phone, log into the website to drive my train on the work computer, and just drive my trains from work. I actually had people connect I had people like in Florida connect to my model railroad and drive my trains from Florida that way. So I only put 4 screws in for the moment. Now here's what... overall worth it. Yes, it was awesome. The only problem is after I moved a second time, and the place I moved into, I didn't have room to set up that layout. I moved a third time, still didn't have room to set up that layout, so it lived in a closet. The 4th time I moved, I didn't have room to store it anymore, so I saved what I could of it and had to get rid of it. And I ended up building another layout. And as soon as I started building it, that's when my roommates, that I had at the time, went through a really nasty divorce. And I moved again, and now the house I live in, I don't really have room for a layout. So I've kind of gotten out of model railroading. Not that it's like, oh, it's a hobby I don't want to do anymore. I still want to do it. I just have shifted to... I've shifted to, the combat robots and stuff. Do a Chromehound story. Do I have any good Chromehound stories? That's the part I'm looking for. Nope, that's not the part I'm looking for. Those are not the pieces you're looking for. Oh, I gotta watch Kenobi. Because the new episode... Apparently episodes of Kenobi come out on Wednesdays. You got into bots. So overall, a net loss of money. I don't know which is more expensive, robots or model trains. Oh, okay. I'll tell Chromehound's story, but one of the reasons why I wanted to change from that other frame to this frame was that none of these screw holes lined up with the old frame because it was so warped. This new frame, they line up really nicely. Like, that is exactly how those screws should go. That's going to make life... Sidewinder. I don't remember Sidewinder. The only real Chromehound story I remember... I remember a couple. Was the one time when we were playing, and we would do the Nervious War. And if you're not familiar with what Chromehounds is, it has one of the best... Out of all the games I've played, it has one of the best modes for multiplayer I've ever really seen. I need another tissue. Allergy's been kicking my ass. It had some of the best online multiplayer. Like, not necessarily, like, the multiplayer wasn't stellar, but it had some really good, like, concept to... words are difficult. The way the multiplayer worked was really nice because it actually made the matchmaking worthwhile. I'm going to use the good soldering iron because I don't feel like turning on my crappy one. And anyways, so I loved that game. And I remember one day we're in the middle of a match, and it's one of the, like, it wasn't ranked, but it was a competitive match because it actually mattered in the online story mode. We're in the middle of a match, and I drive my robot. And in Chromehounds, you built these giant, like, 50-story high fighting robots with huge cannons and stuff. I drive my robot up, and I see an enemy robot right in front of me. And I pull my trigger, and nothing happens. And the other robot starts shooting at me. And the robot I had built was a very high DPS robot. If I hit you, you were probably going to die. But if you looked at me, I would catch on fire. He starts shooting me and he misses. And I pull my trigger again. And I realize my controller's not working. I'm like, oh no, the batteries in my controller have died. And this is on an Xbox 360. I didn't have, like, the rechargeable batteries. I had AA batteries, but they were the rechargeable AA's that I had to take out of the little case and put them in another thing. And I had a set already in the little battery box that goes on the back. In fact, I'm telling this story. Not only do I have a prop for this story, I have the prop. This is the controller I was using in that match, right? And I had this little battery door thing with these AA batteries, right? But they're the rechargeable kind. I had some sitting there on my desk, and I had these ones in, and the batteries died. And this guy's still shooting at me, and he's missing. I don't know how he was missing. And I just do this. I'm like, my batteries have died. I do this motion, drop that onto the floor, reach over, grab another set. At this point, like, I've jumped up, grab the other set, slam it in, power on, get my controller back up, turn, fire, and light the guy up. And I was just like, whew. I'm pretty sure Pez was there for that. I remember Dutch. It was a Dutch or Pez for Turok. Yeah. I remember if it was Dutch or Pez who built a really fast robot with wheels, and we built our really big, heavy, tanky robots, and we went out and we got the entire enemy team to come after us. And while they're shooting at us, Pez drove around behind them, used like his jump jets, landed on top of their base, and just kept dropping bombs on the base, blowing it up that way. Oh, there was also that time we almost lost, right? I think it was you, Spades, Pez, Echo, and I. And the other team had managed to kill us, right? But we would go through the match, and we'd found their base. We were blowing up their base. They came back and killed us. But one of my shots had missed the guy who I was trying to shoot to kill before he could kill me. I missed him. But my shot went and hit their base and blew up their base. And even though we had all died, I had destroyed their base. Like, we had collectively destroyed their base, but I got the killing blow on the base, so we won that match. Oh, be smart, man. Be smart. Be smart. Stop being smart. And there was just like that moment of, oh shit, we lost. And then it's like, victory. And we're like, what? And it shows like the kill cam or whatever of their base exploding. And I think they ended up sending us a message because they were pissed off. They wanted a rematch. And so we went to a rematch, and we still kicked their asses. Achievement unlocked. Yeah, that was definitely a moment of task failed successfully. Oh, I don't want to have to plug in my good soldering iron. This one's not getting hot enough. Actually, that's the good soldering iron. See, this is the problem. This is my problem, all right? I like making things. I like building stuff. I feel like it's a good day when I take a pile of parts and make a thing. I've been learning Fusion 360, and you have no idea how excited I was when I printed this. Like, this is something simple, but it's like, I made this. I made this in CAD. Anywho, I like making things, but then I have Pong here. Oh, later, Pong. Finally, I can break out the janky soldering iron. It's like, I got people who are better at making things than me, and I have jank tools that I need to use. Just gotta wait for it to heat up. Yeah, Pong, I will catch you on... I'll be watching your Friday stream if I'm not busy doing other stuff. I think next Monday I have D&D, so I won't be able to watch that D&D or that stream. Or maybe I will, and I'll just ignore my D&D campaign. These roll so nice. I'm probably going to go for another 20 minutes. Hopefully I'll get this soldered and these put back in, and then I'm going to make myself some food. Depends if I do FSO or not. I might, or if I go to Fandom, because I know Fandom's doing a boys' night, because the TV show Boys. But yeah, I'll see you then. If not, eventually. Just about launched my phone. While that soldering iron heats up, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to use the restroom. Friday squad ups. Yeah, I've been on and off playing Aces High again. Yeah, every so often I load it up and I fly around for a few hours in VR, and it's. I think the combat in Aces High, like just the scale of it, is great. I love that. You're killing your enemies and blowing things up not because you just need to get kills and win a match. You're fighting for a reason. Right, but last time Glenn got banned, Pez and I kind of stopped. Here's what happens, right? Here's what always happens. I play for a week or so, and then I might do an FSO. I might not. And then I won't play for like 3 months. I'm trying to get this. It's like it's wants to come out, but it's also not. Yes, Parker, you can ask questions. That's the whole reason I'm streaming, because it's either this or I sit and listen to music quietly while I build. But also, how many times has Glenn been banned at this point? I do think, and I know we have our Discord, but we're like barely ever active on it, as far as I can tell. I think it'd be kind of cool if we got together and did like a game night. But again, we all have lives now, and it's really it's actually really difficult for me to do game nights with people because my computer's in the living room. And what inevitably always happens is someone will want to do a game night or whatever, and it's like, well, my roommates are cooking dinner this night, my roommates are doing this, I can't be too loud because they're having a conversation, or I can't be part of the conversation because roommates are talking, and it's just like, frustration. Let's be smart about this. Well, Echo's always been... Ants was always okay. I don't remember what my opinion of Hambone was, because I think I played games with him like once. Alright, so I resoldered that joint. Hopefully that's a much better connection now. Now I can start putting this mess of stuff back in the robot. Oh, the folly of man. I have put this on upside down. What a fool I have been! Yeah, maybe the battery is dead. Yeah, because it was like Halo 4 came out. Or no, it was like Halo 3 had been out for a while. I ended up getting a girlfriend and a job, and I wasn't playing as much anymore because I was also like getting more and more into other hobbies. And then that's when, like, Hambone started playing with you guys. And then I moved out west, and I sort of dropped off of the radar for a while. Yeah. It was one of those things where it's like, last online 2 years ago. And it's funny, it's like, I turned my Xbox on, right? For like the first time in a long time. I'm going through my friends list, and it's like, there are people who haven't been on in like 4 years. But it's like, I still know those people. And it was like other people, it's like I knew them in person and they haven't been on in 4 years and I haven't talked to them in 4 years. It's like, wow, it's just crazy. Yeah, well, Echo made that, somebody made that Discord. And I just... Yeah, somebody made that Discord, and I just happened to be friends with Echo, and Echo invited me to it, and I was like, oh shit, the gang's all here! Alright, That's 4 screws. 4 screws in the right place this time. What's nice is the way I've packed and like routed all these wires, everything just sort of falls into the spot where it needs to go. Almost everything except for that one ESC. I'm trying to remember which 2 Allen screws it was that hold the motor, weapon motor in. This is the tricky part. So brushless motors are fun because you got to get the screw in the hole, right? I got to get the screw in this hole right here. But I got to get it in this hole through another hole here in the bottom. And this is like, I got to get everything lined up in just the right spot. Or else it doesn't work right. You know what we need to do? Game night. Well, I was about to throw out another idea. No, no, my screw hole. Where'd it go? There it is. It's like it's right there, but it's also not right there. And this is really hard for even me to see. So it's like, oh, I could get this on camera. No, I can't. It's too tight. So my other idea, and this one would cost money. Well, for you guys, not me, because I'm a cheapskate like that. Plan a Vegas trip and like, all you guys come out here and we go to my bar and we just get shit-faced and play video games at my favorite bar. So I'm not bothering tucking all these wires back in until I get all the screws back in. So that way I don't go mad trying to line them all up. Or with things flipping around when I move them. Yeah, it does. It costs money. That's why I'm like, it's a good idea on paper, but you guys would have to figure. You'd have to like hotel room and air travel. And getting time off work. But see, it'd be easy for me because I live here in Vegas, so my travel would be, oh no, I have to ride my motorcycle across town. Whatever should I do? Yeah, but there's nothing to do in Ogden. You talking Ogden, Utah? Yeah, I've been to Ogden like twice, and both times one was a marginal waste of time, and the other was an absolute waste of. I've been to Ogden 3 times actually. Once was a waste of time, once was a marginal waste of time, and once my windshield got smashed by some junkies. So yeah, good times in Ogden. It's funny. It's like it was my passenger side window on my car got smashed, and I had to drive. This was in like December. No, yeah, it was December, and I had to drive back without a passenger side window. Got my window fixed on Monday, but all my windows on my car are tinted except for that one. And I keep forgetting to take my car to go get it retinted. Because as soon as I came back, I was hardly ever driving my car. Because I ride my motorcycle almost all the time. And you know what it was when they smashed my window? I had taken my car keys, and I had them on a big key ring, like a little dongle and everything, and I took just my car key off, and I put the rest of my key ring, which didn't have any other keys on it. It was just the little dongle, like my Kroger card, and I think I had my house key on there as well. And I put them on like the cubby on the passenger side. I just threw them in there so I didn't lose it. And some junkies saw the tag, figured they could smash the window, and I had the car key on there. They smashed the window, grab it, realize there's no car key on there. They can't get into the car, can't start it. And then they took off. And it was like 10 minutes later, I went out to go get something out of my car. And I saw my window was smashed. And I'm like, what the fuck? And of course, this is Ogden, Utah on a Saturday night. Which means all the places I could get my windshields fixed were closed. So we end up going back to the Airbnb, right? And the next morning, we go back to the Airbnb, and the next morning is when I go out there and pull the rest of the windshield out. We then drive down the road to Walmart, buy a poster board and some duct tape. And duct tape a poster board over my passenger side window. And drove all the way back to Vegas like that. Honestly, this right here, this task right here, of putting these motors back in. Yeah, the weather's totally not hot. It's only humid. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, Dark. Does Louisiana have Millennium Fandom? This live stream brought to you by Millennium Fandom. God, that'd be funny. No, my only wrench. I actually have one, right? My roommate was setting up because she's like, I want to do live streaming and working on stuff. I think that'd be fun. I'm like, okay, cool. And she had her camera, like her tripod and everything, set up with an overhead view. I definitely know you don't have a Millennium Fandom because there's only one Millennium Fandom in the world, and it's here in Vegas. Anywho, she had it all set up so she could do that live stream. She had like the camera top-down view. But I didn't want to bother her to get her tripod out of her room, and she left for the evening, so it's like, well, And I said, this is my setup that I normally have when I'm riding my motorcycle. So all I did is just unmounted my GoPro from my motorcycle helmet, and it's sitting on top of my 3D printer. I could have gone over and set up my computer desk, but I don't have nearly as much lighting or workspace. And unfortunately, I've gone from presenter mode to I just want to get this put back together before I'm done for the night mode. So it's just like, all right, hurry up, get it done. Don't care about making it look pretty on camera, which I know sucks for you guys, the viewers, but gotta think about myself here. Gotta be selfish all the time, you know? Actually, I sit there and say there's only one Millennium Fandom, but I know the owner, Alex, he's working on branching out and opening up a second one. I think he wants to open one in Phoenix. On one hand, I think it'd be pretty cool, because one, Fandom is actually a really fun bar. Like, if you're ever in Vegas, if you ever find yourself here in Vegas, check out Millennium Fandom. It is well worth it. Like, the drinks are good, the staff is great, the community around the bar is phenomenal. As far as I know, only one person's actually been banned from the bar. Again, that's as far as I know. And it wasn't me, surprisingly enough. Well, so here's what you do. Here's what you do, right? You fly to Ogden, right? And you go get Pez. You know, if you have to, get a rental car or steal Pez's car. Preferably steal Pez's car, because that'd be funny. Kidnap Pez. And then drive from Ogden down here to Vegas. See? Problem solved. Look at me. Solving problems. Fixing robots and solving world problems. Careful, I might solve world hunger here next. Just tightening up this last screw here and I'm realizing, oh, I could easily put it like this. These are the screws here that hold the motors in. That's not good. What is that hitting on? There's a set screw on this shaft and it's hitting on something on the inside of the hole for the motor housing. I mean, it's only like a 6-hour drive from Ogden to Vegas. Speaking of 6-hour drives, if anyone's watching this who isn't Spades or Parker, if you take a moment to notice, I have a little banner bar doohickey, like right here. I think it's right there. Am I lined up with it? I don't know. In a couple days, here's where I was jealous that I got a bigger dick than you guys. In a couple of weeks, in July, I will be going to Arizona. And I will most likely be taking my motorcycle. And I will be live streaming from my motorcycle. If I take my motorcycle, I'll be live streaming from it. That screws all the way in. Those are just bowed out in my files. And if anyone wants to chip in some bits, support that. I've got a bit goal going on right now. It's not actually that expensive to go, but they're going to hit that bit goal. That'll actually help with... So originally I was going to go to Norwalk Havoc in July, but Robert and I have talked, and it sounds like we'll be going in September. That ship is going to cost about $1,000. And while I am capable of affording it, I have the big goal there because, well, having extra money is always a fun thing. So what had happened was, on the inside of these two holes, this bigger hole, the plastic or the nylon had actually bowed in, and on this axle right here, you can see there's a little set screw right there. Let me try and get it real close to the camera. There's a little set screw right there. It was hitting those. So I just took the file and filed those down a little bit. And hopefully now these will go in. That shaft will spin. And we won't have any binding issues. You know, you could always just have Pez get in here. He can just come in here. He's totally capable of sending his own text messages into my stream. That's still hitting, but that's an issue that will self-correct. In fact, we can make it self-correct. One whole bit. Wow. That's really going to get me far. Had to buy bits. Before I finish tightening that up. That's smoke. Where's that smoke coming from? Oh! Okay. So, this shaft right here, this little shaft right here, it spins. It was sitting up against the tape while I was spinning that up, and that's where that smoke was coming from. Spade's just doing one bit at a time. I helped. Alright, so I wanted to make sure that the motors and everything were going to still work. This set screw is definitely hitting something right there, and I'm going to have to take a look at that. I was hoping that it would spin and just eat itself and clear all that material out of there. It clearly isn't, but that's going to be an issue for later. Because what I want to do is I want to make sure that all of my electronics... This is all the electronics. You got to fit like 5 pounds of electronics in a 3-pound package. So, okay, let's explain what some of these electronics are. This right here is an 80 amp brushless ESC, or electric speed controller. This is particularly the one for the weapon motor, which is this motor right here. It gets packed in all the way at the bottom. Right here we have two 45 amp brushless ESCs, one for each of the drive motors. So one is the left motor and one is the right motor. This right here is the receiver, and this is actually what gets the signal from the controller and drives the robot. This little black thing right here, this is a voltage regulator. It takes all the power from the battery, drops it down to 5 volts, and powers the receiver. And then this big bundle right here, Robert likes this. I don't know if I'm happy with that. I'm pretty sure I could save some weight, but this is basically some nuts and bolts that connect all of these together. So if one part fails, we take this tape off, we undo a couple screws, and we can rewire the whole robot very quickly. We don't have to worry about a soldering iron. But it adds weight, and it actually gums up like the entire inside of the robot. It's like there's this big block of rubbery tape that I have to like wedge things around, and I'm just like, I don't know if it's not how I would have done it, but it's how it is, and it's how it's going to be for now until I sit there and say, you know what, I don't like this, I'm changing it. And we know we packed everything, so I know I got everything in to fit in here once, and now I can't get it back in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the battery in, because half of all of this stuff actually gets packed in and held in place by the battery. The battery is held in place by some of the wires, and the wires are held in place by the battery. It's a weird relationship that they have. Because these are all brushless motors. It's nice. 69 bits, nice. Because it's all brushless motors, the outside of the motor actually turns, so you gotta be careful where you place the wires. Because if you're not careful, you'll put the wire right up against the motor, and the motor will eat through the wire. And so that is part of my challenge here with packing all these wires in, which I know it's hard to see. I'm trying my best. And maybe I should put the battery in upside down. I am so helpful. Okay, that's as best I'm going to get the wires for now. I will make them mold better later. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to start putting the wheels back on, and hopefully these go in straight. Because the other ones, they would go in and they would sit like this. Hopefully these go in straight. And So far it looks like it is. It's going straight in, which means the wheel should sit level. I'm just worried about gear mesh here. As I'm tightening this bolt in, I'm watching this wheel get closer and closer, and I'm hoping it meshes with that gear properly. And it is meshing with that gear properly. Oh, that mesh is so much nicer. The old frame, you could barely get these wheels to turn because they were in at such a weird angle. They didn't mesh with the main gear properly on the brushless motor. And so you'd go to like drive and it was just grinding, constantly grinding. Oh, look at that. So, chat, look at that. Spades is the #1 in bits. Who's going to unseat him? I'm going to try and do more of these. Just work on the robot. Maybe they'll be Wednesday nights. I'm going to talk to my roommates and see if like I can have the downstairs on like Wednesday nights or something. Or maybe Tuesdays. Whatever day like my roommates don't cook dinner. And Robert, if you're watching, this new frame is so much better. Oh, that is so much smoother than the old frame was in terms of just turning that. Like stretch. Oh. Oh. There we go. I'm almost done. I'm almost done wrapping up for the night. So this one, only because that set screw's binding on part of the frame, which I'm going to have to get my drill in there and drill that out, but I at least want to get the robot mostly back together. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Mike, that wheel was not going into that slot like it should have gone. One thing I am concerned about is these bolts are going into these holes really easily, which has me worried that they might back out easily. Which could be a problem. We could end up losing a wheel in the middle of a fight because a bolt backed out. Yeah, that's problematic. I should not be able to do that and just pull that bolt out. That bolt is not threading at all. That's a problem. I'm going to let Robert know that he maybe needs to make those holes a fraction of a millimeter smaller because of pulling out on this new frame. Let's go ahead and power the robot up again. on top of something so it doesn't run away. Now, one of the problems we have is we haven't programmed these ESCs yet, so I don't have reverse. But I have a very fast robot. Yep, it did the thing. I didn't have the camera pointing at it, but I just did a quick, like, 360. And I think you can even hear it. That bolt just pulled completely out and gummed up that drive. So, shit. One of the things I can do is I can fill that with some epoxy and drive that bolt back in, and hopefully it'll stick. Additionally, I might have a nut that I can put on there. But yeah, there we go. We got the robot back on its wheels. Swapped the frame. Things to do tomorrow. Well, no, he's gonna be watching Pong's stream tomorrow. So things I have to do. Still, I have to. In fact, I can dig it out at least. Because we really want to do a weapons spin-up test. The problem is we're using these 3D printed gears to drive the weapon, and we keep melting the gears. And we're not sure if it's an issue we can solve with just better gears. I think it might be a grease the gears and it'll work. So I wanted to replace the frame, so hopefully our weapon, which is this part here, would sit... Oh, it sits so much better now that it's in a frame that's not warped. And then that gear sits there, and then this gear sits right here. Oh, ooh, that mesh is going to be nice. It's going to be good. I'm getting excited because I think this is going to work better. I think this frame is going to work better than the old frame. I still have to button up all the wiring, and I have to put the top plate, which is right here, back on. Back. Close enough. Put the top plate back on. Button up this wiring again, make it look nice. Reattach the power switch right there where it goes. Make sure that these wires aren't rubbing up against that motor, which it's, easy fixes, easy fixes. And then do a weapons test, but that's going to be a project for tomorrow. Or, yeah, that'll be a project for tomorrow. It is 9:08. We got a subscription with Prime. Yay. Oh, and I got a follower. And you got MC Leadyard. I'm sorry if I mispronounced Z name. I didn't catch the followers because I'm not actually at my computer. My computer's over on the other side of the room. Anywho, thanks guys for being here. Appreciates it. I didn't think anyone was going to be here. I was just going to be sitting talking to myself, and actually had like decent conversations. I'm going to go make food and watch Kenobi now.